So today what you're going to watch is a video trail guide for the Chugach State Park to Anchorage Trail System connection. You can start in Chugach State Park and make your way almost entirely downhill into the Anchorage Trail System, and you can go all the way from the mountains to the sea. Now, as part of this project, I talked to a lot of really interesting people who had a lot of great information on the area. So first things first, we need to talk about what you need to bring. I always make sure to have a rain jacket, a warm layer of some kind, water, snacks, bear spray, bike helmet, and a charged up phone. Now, this video isn't sponsored, but a lot of the different people we've talked to along the way have recommended Trailforks. Trailforks is an app that gives you really detailed maps, but it also lets you download them to your phone, which is really handy because you're not always going to have cell service. Alaska State Parks also recommends the app Outer Spatial. It gives you Chugach State Park specific information and updates. This ride can be done in about a half a day, so before heading out, I'm also going to put my State Park annual pass on my windshield. With these passes, you can park at the State Park trailheads without having to pay the $5 day use fee. It helps support the parks, and you also look like a sourdough if you have one from each year. Next, I'll take a look at the Glen Alps webcam. This will show you the weather as well as how many people are already parked at the trailhead. It looks a little busy this morning, so I'm going to have my family drop me off at the Glen Alps lower parking lot. Another good thing to know is that there are multiple trailheads in the area that access the same trail system. These are Upper Huffman, Upper O'Malley, and Prospect Heights. To start the day, Aaron Leggett, the president of the native village of Eklutna, met me at the Flat Top Trailhead.
Right now we're along Powerline Pass up at Glen Alps. This mountain range is called Kinchari, and Kinchari means crying ridge. The Dena'ina name for Campbell Creek is actually called Kinchagitnu, and it means crying ridge creek. A place of mourning. It was a place that you would remember your ancestors that have passed on. It was a very kind of reflective and meditative place. When we were doing the Dena'ina interpretive project, one of the things we had translated is Dena'ina Elsnena Chitidyuch. It means you are walking on Dena'ina lands. And we've been the stewards and caretakers of this place for many generations. And we simply ask that when you're out in the environment that you respect this place and maybe take a moment to think about the people that came before, that lived here and that are still here trying to take care of this place.
All right, Aaron, well, thank you so much for meeting me today.
Oh, you're welcome.
I really do appreciate it.
In Dena'ina, we would say koa, which means goodbye and go in good health.
The start of the new Hemlock Burn Trail is just down from the lower parking lot, right here. This is a 6-mile mountain biking trail that takes you down to the Prospect Heights trailhead. This newly opened trail is the first STA-built trail in Chugach State Park, and it's what makes the Mountains to Sea trail connection possible by linking up Glen Alps to the hillside single-track trails. Here, I'm meeting up with Christina Grande. She's a local mountain bike guide and business owner. She's sort of famous around here.
I worked a lot with bicycles, kind of a long history. I currently own a mountain bike guiding company, but I also am part of the Single Track Advocates Board of Directors, and the STA group is the group that maintains, creates, and preserves all these cool single track trails here in town. So when you're riding mountain bikes, you always want to give walkers, runners, horseback riders the right of way. Slow down, just kind of pull to the side and allow them to go. You always want to give riders right of way if they're climbing. So if you're descending down a hill, you want to give the person going uphill the right of way. We're on the Hemlock Burn Trail, so it is one way down. There's some signage too, so just look at signage at trail entrances. I always like to say hello, like coming through, not to surprise them. All right, to the Prospect. I always hoot and holler for animals because it's fun, and also for people. I always slow down at intersections. So if there's a trail, especially like the Hemlock Burn Trail, we're crossing through a few hiking trails. We try to stay on the trail and not create a new trail. These trails were designed professionally by trail builders. You can see that the ski jump from here. Do you see that?
Yeah.
So that's the Hilltop Bike Park. I mean, that's where essentially we'll be probably popping out of.
The Hemlock Burn Trail is fun, it's almost all downhill, and it's perfect for the beginner mountain biker. As Christina and I pass through the Prospect Heights trailhead, we drop in on Ben Corwin, the superintendent of Chugach State Park.
You know, I like the hillside area trails. What I like most about them is they're accessible year-round. Even during the winter, after a big snowstorm, it's just a few hours later, all of the trails are packed down just because so many people get out and use them. Or most of our trails are multi-use. That's kind of a unique thing about Chugach State Park. We try to accommodate a variety of different users. This Hemlock Burn Trail and the South Rim Trail, they're accessed from a few different spots. You can access them from here at Prospect Heights, and that's kind of the lower level. But then we've got Upper Huffman and Upper O'Malley as viable options, and we rely pretty heavily on trail partners to advocate for us for new trails. We do that with Chugach Park Fund, Alaska Trails, Single Track Advocates, and other groups. And so it's pretty cool to be able to have trails that flow through, all the way from the mountains to the sea.
After Prospect Heights, the Sea to Summit Trail connects you to a series of single-track trails that run through Far North Bicentennial Park. These single-track trails dump you out in the Hillside Ski and Bike Area parking lot. This is a hidden gem in Anchorage. This place is a bike park in the summer and a ski area in the winter. I sat down with Trevor Bird, the general manager, to talk about Hilltop's relationship with the trail system.
Yeah, so my name is Trevor Bird. I'm the general manager at Hilltop Ski Area. So our mission is to provide educational and recreational opportunities to Alaska's youth, and Anchorage youth specifically. I think where we're located is really optimal for this project specifically because you can take a break midway through and get something to eat and drink, hang out for a little bit, and then continue your ride, which is pretty cool. There's not a lot of ski areas or bike parks that are located in this kind of a setting where you're in a park and you're surrounded by all these other public use trails. I think it's a really cool thing as a resident of Anchorage too, that we can say that we have a ski area in town. I mean, there's not a lot of cities that have that. I think people are still learning about the bike park and learning that it's here and what it is. Any user can come up, whether it's your first time mountain biking or your experienced rider. We want to be able to have something you can have fun on. It's something I think is good for everybody in Anchorage. I don't think there's a lot of places that have the kind of trail systems that we have here, and I think people are really lucky to be able to get to do what they do. That you can start up in the mountains, like you were saying earlier, ride down, have lunch at a bike park, end up, at the ocean. That's pretty cool.
From the hillside parking lot, you hop onto the multi-use trails that run just past Service High and into Far North Bicentennial Park, eventually connecting you to the Tour of Anchorage Trail. Now these are beautiful trails. They're a mix of dirt and gravel in the summer, and they take you across the heart of Far North Bicentennial Park. Here, Christina and I parted ways and I joined up with Kevin Jackson. He was out for a ride anyways. Kevin has been working with the Anchorage Department of Transportation for 27 years, and he is an avid user of trails.
We've got a tremendous system here in this town between the city and the state. It's a fantastic network back here. It's just a blast, and I think it's healthy both for the mind and the body. I just thoroughly enjoy getting away from traffic and all that, and just out in the woods just relaxes me. Enjoy that sunlight and that fresh air, I've never lived in anywhere where they had such a fantastic network, from the single tracks to the great pathways. We've got the paved trails, we've got the non-paved trails. I enjoy the non-paved ones the most. Anywhere that I live has got to have a trail system, because I got spoiled here. It's just so relaxing. It's kind of like freedom for me. Just being able to winter ride is pretty awesome too. Yeah, it's nice to see, people getting out with all forms of disabilities and able to get out and enjoy the trails like everybody else.
After connecting with Kevin on the Tour of Anchorage Trail, I'm hopping onto the section of the Campbell Creek Trail that runs through the UMed district. On this section of the trail, you ride between the hospitals, past University Lake, and connect up with the Chester Creek Trail.
All right, we did it. We're at the Chester Creek Trail.
After a beautiful ride on the Chester Creek Trail, it ends and connects up with the Coastal Trail in Westchester Lagoon Park. Here, Steve Rafuse, the superintendent of parks in Anchorage, joined me at the Chonchnu Indigenous Place Names marker to talk about the parks and trails in Anchorage.
Yeah, that's right. How you doing? Oh, great, man. Great. We're just talking about why the trails are great.
Love the
Yeah, it's cool. These guys looks like they got their book out, they got their binoculars out. It's pretty cool. So my name's Steve Rafuse. I'm Superintendent of Parks for the Municipality of Anchorage. And essentially I oversee the management, maintenance, and development of 223 parks and 250 miles of trails and all sorts of wonderful assets.
If somebody was new to Anchorage, what would you want them to know about our park and trail system here?
First, it's world class. The fact that you can walk 5 minutes to a trail, you can see moose on the trails, you can come down and see beautiful Westchester Lagoon is just really invaluable. And I know a lot of folks think about where do I want to live, what's that quality of life, and I know the things that we have, our parks and our trails, are really attractive. And so I think not only are they great for our physical health and our mental health, but I think they also provide a lot of value in terms of economic development and attracting talent and bringing people here to town.
After leaving Westchester, it's just a short ride on the coastal trail to connect us up with Ship Creek. I'm having my family meet me at the small boat launch where the Knik Arm meets the sea. Diana Rhoades is the Director of Community Engagement with the Anchorage Park Foundation. She also met us at the end of the route so we could talk about the opportunities we have with the trail system in Chugach State Park and Anchorage.
Anchorage is really a trails town. And we've been excited recently to help new users navigate the trail system by linking them all together. The Mountains to the Sea connects Chugach State Park through Far North Bicentennial Park and to the Moose Loop trails and into downtown. And ultimately, the Mountains to the Sea would end down there at the small boat launch, which is also the site of Olga, a Dena'ina woman statue. For thousands of years, the Dena'ina people, Anchorage's first people, have fished along Ship Creek. And so there's a beautiful statue there at the small boat launch downtown. Check the Anchorage Park Foundation website for the curated experience for Mountains to the Sea.
This day was truly incredible. It's a 23-mile ride that's almost all downhill. You start in an alpine setting and you end up downtown in Alaska's biggest city. I can't recommend a better option if you have an extra day to spend in Anchorage. I'll see you on the trails.